What's going on, VMG? Got DeeO here, and we're doing VMG Goes Vocal Week 2. We skipped a week last week, but this week should be a banger for you. Who do we have on the show this week?
Me.
Who's that? Who's that?
No, sorry. This is I guess what did I used to call myself?
VMG Clint, man.
Yeah. Clint from Verb. You can call me that.
And Germ's here again.
Sorry for the letdown with Germ, but
yeah, I know.
Begged, so
you guys
all right, so hopefully this week we had some really big news, not so good news, but THQ canceling MX versus ATV, the entire shebang. I don't even know what to call it. Just the whole entire franchise of MX versus ATV is canceled. Clint, how do you feel about it? What was your first reaction to that?
Man, I was definitely shocked. I mean, just like probably everybody else. Anybody that said that they expected this to happen is pretty much kidding themselves because, as much of a letdown as Alive was to some people out there, I definitely didn't, I'm sure they had no idea or didn't think that THQ was closing the doors on the entire franchise. So I was shocked.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And like, even people, if they say like, oh, well, Alive sucked anyway, so of course it got canceled. It's like, it's the same game that made Reflex. And if you loved Reflex, you're still losing the whole franchise. It's not just Alive that's getting canned or anything.
Yeah, I mean, and even further back than Reflex, you've had Unleashed and all the MX versus ATV games. Plus, it's the biggest selling franchise for THQ. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or is that WWF?
I would guess it was WWE, but I could be mistaken. I've never looked into it, so
maybe the longest lasting, biggest selling franchise.
Yeah, possibly. Because didn't it actually start with Motocross Madness? Wasn't that a Rainbow Studios game, which is now THQ Phoenix or whatever?
I don't want to say yes or no because I'll get flamed for it, but yeah, it could possibly. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Poi Dog just told us that yes, so. It just sucks, man. Like a game we all know and love, even if you weren't a huge fan of Alive and like I wasn't a fan of Reflex, it's still a game that we all play. And it's like we're all motocross riders and we like to kick back with a video game and we've lost that. Like no matter what, you're going to be upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, in the bigger scheme of things, it's not good for the sport. I mean, is motocross going to go on? Yeah. Supercross? Yeah. But to me, it's not good for the sport in general because there's a lot of kids out there that get into motocross from playing video games. They may have no idea what motocross or supercross is all about except from playing the MX versus ATV series. And then, you close the door on something like that from, the general public. That's not good for the sport. So
Yeah, not at all. And especially with like, it really helped out that Alive was only $40 to start with. That I think like if a kid goes to Best Buy with his mom and she's like, we can get one game, and then she sees a $40 game, she's going to buy it no matter what that kid's into. And like you said, just bringing in more and more people and getting them into motocross. And if we lose that, just the game outlet, we're going to lose tons of potential customers who could then venture into motocross and keep the actual sport, like the AMA Pro Series, going. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's just an all around bummer. The gaming industry is huge, and the motocross industry could definitely value some from any motocross game being around. I mean, MX Simulator, that's a game that's around right now currently that I don't see going anywhere. I've personally never played that game, but it doesn't have that appeal to the general population. You got to be on a computer to play. A lot of people can't freaking type on a computer, much less play MX Simulator. MX Simulator is an awesome game, but that Alive was pushed towards that general crowd. It was out there to the mainstream market, and that's what our sport needed. And it's just sad that it had to go away, and everybody that was involved with the game had to lose their job. And this economy is tough right now. And, I just feel for their families for sure,
Yeah. And like you were saying with MX Simulator, I think it's really hard for non-mainstream people to get into it because who's going to just like randomly type in motocross game for the PC or whatever? Like I bet you if you type in motocross game, you're going to get an MvA game. It's just something that doesn't appeal to the general public. And then especially once they play it and they find out how hard that game is, they're going to throw it in the trash right away. They're never going to play that again like you can with Alive.
Yeah, and that's the tough part about it. And, you hear a lot about this you kind of hear a lot about this FIM game, but who knows what it's going to be like. I mean, we've tried to send these guys emails asking about the game, this and that, trying to introduce ourselves, through the gamer channel, say this is kind of what we're all about, what we're trying to do with motocross gaming and whatnot. And they emailed us back a few times, but we haven't heard anything since. So we don't know anything about the game or what's going on there. Yeah. So who knows when it's going to be out? So we may not have a new motocross video game for a while. Yep. Unless you guys know something I don't. I
know nothing, man. So many people have been asking me about the FIM game and absolutely no information on it. And of course, it's Black Bean's first attempt, and who knows how that's going to go. They could have a complete flop, and then maybe their second or their third one will be good. But you can't expect this first one to just come out and blow away Reflex or blow away Alive or blow away even MX Simulator.
Yeah, I mean, and if they do, hats off to them. They nailed it. But if the franchise has been in it for how long? 10 plus years now, and they're not going to please everybody, but it's taken them this long to get to where they're at. I mean, I don't see them nailing it first try, but if they do, awesome. That's great.
Yep. Yeah, I actually said a little bit ago, I don't need it to be an MvA game for me to be happy. It just needs to be a motocross game. That's all it's going to take for me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It is a shame though that the next game isn't going to be an MvA game, but I guess life goes on, and I don't know, man. I was just completely shocked. It actually, I emailed, who did I email? Emailed Checkers and asked him if it was true, because Checkers announced his departure from THQ like 3 days before, and he didn't seem to think that this was he had no idea that this was going to happen. He just had left because I think he was over it, and he wanted to move on to bigger and better things. Now he works for Race Tech Suspension as their marketing director, I think. I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It just sucks.
Definitely.
Plain and simple.
And another thing, I don't know if I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, but everyone's so pumped about the FIM game, and it's not going to have Supercross. And that was like what half the people were so mad about Alive is no Supercross, and now you're going to have another game with no Supercross. So you just got to keep that in mind before everyone gets super pumped about it,
Well, if one thing's for sure, they've had a bunch of training for outdoors. So,
That's true. It's true.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that Supercross is a big deal. Obviously, I don't agree with how they didn't incorporate Supercross into Alive. I mean, I see what they were going after. They wanted to make sure it was right and good for everybody when it came out. But Supercross is such a big deal, and it's so much more popular right now than outdoors. I don't like that it is, but it's just kind of the way it is, Yep. Supercross as a sport is more popular, hands down, right now. And if you're going to release a big time video game to the mainstream public and they don't have Supercross in it, they're going to get pissed off.
Yep, I agree, but I guess it's a little late for that now.
Yeah.
Germ, do you have any input on it, man? You haven't really said anything.
Oh no, I'm just sitting here listening.
Fair enough.
I mean, you guys are pretty much saying everything I'm thinking. So,
well, what do you guys think about? I went onto the forums on the MX versus ATV community forum, and I saw a lot of people obviously pissed off and wanted a refund from THQ for the game. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with a refund, but how do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like you should have money back, or
I
or
don't think
what?
so. Not at all. Because, I mean, you paid $40 for the game, and as everyone knows, it was an incomplete game. It was marketed that way, and then you're going to get it through DLC. So, like, you got what you paid for. You didn't pay $60 and, like, pre-order some Supercross DLC and never receive that or something. You paid the 40. You got what the 40 was worth, or however you want to phrase that. And so it's like, I don't see what you deserve a refund on. Like, you didn't pay for anything that you didn't get, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, did they say they were going to release Supercross tracks? Yeah. Did they? Yeah, they released two of them, but they released them. You know, did they say that they were going to come out with more Supercross tracks? Yeah. And I believe that was, well, obviously that was for the second release. So, and then now that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And like, I was talking to Dan and Checkers a little bit, and actually Elliot, or Triton as some people know him. And he said that they already had started to make the Supercross tracks and they were looking sick. They were never finalized, and that's why they're not part of the DLC now. And they were cut before they were even able to release them. So the Supercross was there. It was in the works, and they were going to provide, and it was going to be awesome for all of us. And then THQ just cut them off.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't talk to Elliot, but when I was talking to Chris, he told me the same thing. He said it sucks because they had the majority of the Supercross tracks just about done, and then THQ came in with the axe and just cut all their heads off. It's terrible. And you know, I don't, obviously I'm not a behind the scenes guy with what goes on with THQ and versus Rainbow and the devs or whatnot, but just from talking to a couple of the guys through email, they made it very apparent that a lot of the decisions that were being made for Alive and other features of the games, maybe even the past games, Reflex, were done through the head honchos at THQ, whether they wanted to do it or not.
Not the guys like Checkers who are actual riders who want it the way they want it. They didn't have any say in it. They were just out there to make money, listen to the bosses.
Right. And there you have it. And then Checkers, I'm assuming got fed up with it and left. And then, thankfully for him and luckily for him, he has a job somewhere. And, you got other guys, I mean, they laid off 200 people, so.
I think
I'm sorry.
I think that people, one, need to realize that 200 people did get laid off. Like, just when they talk crap about it, it's like, these people lost their jobs. Keep that in mind. And then also, if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at THQ, because like you said, the developers wanted to do it one way, and the head honchos of THQ were the ones that shot it down. So it just really sucks when people are starting to like get mad at Elliot or Checkers or Dan Mitri, and it's like, they didn't do anything wrong. It's not their fault what happened to the company.
There's just a misconception there with people not knowing how stuff works, and they get on the internet and they don't know what they're doing. They see a couple of names and obviously associated with THQ, and they don't know how business works, and they think that anybody associated with THQ, it's their fault. I mean, that's just the way it is. They don't, God bless them.
Jerm, go ahead, man. You're too quiet. You got to say something about this.
About what?
Do you think that people deserve a refund? Like, all this talk about people getting refunds, do you think it's called for or totally bogus?
No, they don't need a refund. They bought the game, like you said. They bought whatever DLC came out, which they have that content. That content's not going away. Yep. They didn't pay for anything they don't have, so why get a refund?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's funny when people are like, oh, well, it'll be a waste. Like, it's a waste now if the game goes down. I bought all this DLC. Like, you're still going to have the DLC. Even if the servers go down, you're not going to lose your Yamaha or lose your Fox gear or whatever. So I think that's a very strange complaint. I'm not sure if the people just didn't really think it through, or if they just mean they won't be able to show off their gear online anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys just want to move on? And just sticking with the MX versus ATV being canceled, a lot of people have been asking me, not VMG Clint, just me, what that means for the channel, if the channel's going to fall apart, if we're going to stop posting. And Clint, why don't you go ahead and answer that?
Okay. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I mean, you're always going to have motocross video games to play whether it's single player or multiplayer, you're going to have games to play, which allows you to record yourself to keep making, badass videos for everybody to see. And like I said earlier in the pre-show, what really sucks is for the tournament kids that are really into the motocross tournaments, because I don't know for sure or not, but eventually they're going to turn off the servers. Who knows when that'll be? Hopefully it won't be for anytime soon. But once they turn those servers off and you're hardcore into tournaments, I mean, you're SOL, and that really does suck for a lot of the tournament kids. But as far as the channel goes, we've really never been about tournament play, even though I think that tournament play is awesome. But you can always record yourself, record your fast laps, record your montages, whatever you want to do, you can always still record it. So channel won't die.
Yeah, and even if you have a good commentary, usually the gameplay isn't that big of a deal. Like, if you have a good race on single player, it's no different than you having a good race on multiplayer, as long as your commentary content is strong enough to, like, I don't know about you guys, but I usually watch the commentary for the talk. Like, sometimes I won't even watch the video at all. So just having single player really isn't a big deal in my opinion of like what can be uploaded to the channel.
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys like C-Nanners, all you COD players out there know who that guy is. You look at guys like Blame Truth. Those dudes, obviously you could sit there and watch them get, 50-1 killed death ratios all day long. But I think there comes a point in time where people are more interested in what they're actually saying. As crazy as that may sound, they just want to hear them talk about whatever is going on with them. So, I don't know. Commentaries are kind of a funny thing. You get kids sometimes in there talking a little bit too much about what's going on, and it gets a little boring. But it's just a cool way to, give your opinions on whatever's going on in your life or whatever about motocross, anything you want.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I just had one last little thing. I think it's MX versus ATV Unleashed. One of those, they already did get rid of the multiplayer servers, and people still post single player videos. So that really is like, it shouldn't affect us, even though the online servers, I've heard, are supposed to stay up at least for a little bit. When they do go down, it really shouldn't matter one bit.
You know what? Now that I think about it, Reflex for PC, I believe, will probably get a lot of really cool stuff added to it now that Live is pretty much tanked. I think that's there was a mention from Chris. He told me to watch out for all you PC guys that play Reflex, that he expects to see a lot of really cool stuff coming out of those dudes. But expect to see a bunch of MX Simulator players too.
Yep.
You know what? I mean, I saw a tweet from, it was a message or something from Elliot talking about joining up with some MX Simulator guys and doing some stuff until he finds something new.
Yep, I saw that too. So I guess we'll see what the future holds. But,
yeah.
You want to move on to Unadilla, or you have anything else to say about that? Or Germ, if you want to chime in here.
No, I got nothing.
What's going on with you tonight, Germ? What are you doing?
I'm just watching the stream, and there's some UFC fights on Versus. So,
oh man, gonna lose you.
I don't know. I'm still here.
Okay, good. But Unadilla, real talk. Unadilla last week.
Gia RV.
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
Clint, you weren't there, right? You didn't make it out to that one.
No, and you know what, dude? I didn't even get a chance to really watch it on TV. But I do know who won and who did well and whatnot. But I guess we can let's talk about the 250 class first. Who impressed you there?
Well, I don't have cable, so I only saw the first moto of the 250s because they show the second one on Fuel, but the first one they live stream on the internet. So I only saw the first one, but I was really happy that Wilson grabbed that win because it's really strange for him to be leading the points without a win. Kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's consistency, but come on, you don't want to win a entire series and not win a single moto or a single overall at least. So I was really happy with that. But I mean, you can't really be like, oh, the pro circuit guy impressed me. I mean, they've got the podium every single week, so not much to say with that.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet from Steve Mathis over at Racer X and Pulp. He said something like the pro circuit guys have finished. Pro circuit team has finished 1 and 2 every single moto. Or no, not every single moto. 15 out of the 18 motos, I believe, something like that. It's just really, really dominant.
All I got to say is Mitch Payton's doing a good job, and it must be nice to be him.
Yeah,
he knows how to do what he does, apparently.
Well, I tell you who I was really impressed with, and I know DeeO, you're kind of getting into the amateur side of things here and there, but
I know who you're gonna say, man. I know it.
Bogle, yeah,
yes, sir.
Bogle. Now, the kid is fast. Okay, there's a lot of kids just like him that go from amateur to pro every single year. Jason Anderson is somebody. Just like Bogle, that was super dominant as an amateur, but has struggled this year as a pro, and I don't know why that is. But Bogle with 2/6 place for, what did he get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th overall. I'm looking at the results.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I was really, really impressed with him, and I don't know if you watched the Racer X post show, but apparently him and Baggett had a little deal going on, and Baggett kind of called him out and called him a hero. Said he was trying to be a hero on his first day. So there's already some bad blood starting, I guess.
Gotta love it, man. Some more Honda versus Cowie battles coming up, hopefully. But yeah, he was impressive. Isn't he faster on the 450 though? Like, just isn't that what most people say? Like Loretta's and all, didn't he kill it on the 450 and got like 2nd or 3rd on the 250?
He got 2nd on the 250 overall, but I would say, I mean, anybody I think that you put on a 450 is going to go pretty damn quick at his caliber. But as far as which he's faster at, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, to be honest, he won just about everything on both, as an amateur. So you really don't know what he's going to be like 30 minutes plus 2 until, you put him out there. So we won't know if he's truly that fast on a 450 in the pros until
a few more years, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm just I'm a little nervous because Eli Tomac came in. I don't know if it was right after Loretta's, but he won his first outdoor national, completely killed it. And then the next week he got like, I'm going to make this up, like 15th or something. And then this year, until this race, he's been kind of running not towards the back, but, not even in the top 5. He hasn't even been mentioned. And it's just hopefully Bogle doesn't do the same thing and come out really strong and then like wear himself out in the first race and then just fall back and back and back.
Yeah, Tomac last year, that was that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen all the time. And then when he came out to Texas, which I was there at that event, covering that event, and he got heat stroke. And a lot of people don't realize how bad heat stroke really affects you down the road. It's not just, like you get heat stroke at a race, you come back, recoup for the next week. It doesn't typically work that way. They say heat stroke can affect you months and months down the road. And I think that was a real big deal as far as his year went afterwards, after he got heat stroke. But just watching his podium speeches this year, or this past one at Unadilla, he said, he admitted that he hadn't had the greatest outdoor season right now, and he thinks that he has the bike kind of tuned the way he wants. I honestly think also that Bogle coming out there and running in front of him kind of lit a fire under his ass, really. Yeah, I mean, you don't want an AM kid coming in and doing that to you. It pisses you off.
Yeah, and he wants to be the top, Geico team rider, right? Because Barsha moving up, Tomac needs to step up. And who do they have? Like Dakotas, Hahn, Tomac and Bogle now, right? Isn't that team?
Yeah, well, Dakotas, he's filling in for Blake Wharton, which Blake is recovering from I think he had surgery on both shoulders. I'm not sure, but he's had shoulder surgery, so that's why Dakotas is filling in for him. So yeah, I mean, you don't want a rookie coming in after you've been in it for a year or so, showing you up. That's for sure. So but we'll see how it does.
Yeah, hopefully he can continue it on. You want to move on to the 450s of Unadilla real quick?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Villapoto 1-1.
Dude, Villapoto dominated. Like, it wasn't even a race. He was just out there.
I really wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, I know Villapoto's your guy.
Oh, yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah. No, that's cool though, man. No, you don't want to give Villapoto a bunch of confidence, man, because he'll definitely take advantage of it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And so obviously we have to talk about Justin Barsha on the 450. That was something else. I didn't think it was going to go like that.
You know, we write a poll on our VurbMoto Facebook each weekend asking, you know, if it's a certain rider, like Barsha going to the 450 class, we ask certain questions, like a poll question. How do you think so-and-so will do? Podium, top 10, top 15 plus or whatever, you know, something like that. And I'm not going to pull it up, but I think the majority of people thought that he would get top 10 and not podium, which I was one of those guys. Yeah. But man, you get a wild kid like that on a 450, and I you know, the 450's heavier too. You would figure that a kid that rides like him would get tired, but it seemed like he kind of smoothed it out a little bit. I know he had some crazy moments, but man, he rode that thing really, really well. Should definitely open the eyes up for guys, you know, finishing, you know, not to bag on those guys, but the guys that finish, you know, top or 15 plus, you know, still trying to do it or whatever. Can you imagine a whole bunch of those young fiery kids getting on 450s in the next couple of years? It's just man. Damn.
And then Barsha, you know, everyone knows his crazy style, and if you don't, you should check out the VurbMoto Platinum of him. Like, that just shows it to a T, just how he throws that bike around. And at Unadilla, he was doing it on the 450. Like you said, it's a heavier bike, and you think he'd mellow out, but over that sky jump or whatever they were calling it, man, he was throwing it out so hard. It was insane to watch. He was like the most exciting person on the track, without a doubt.
Yeah. And it's got to really piss guys like Dungey off, which it did. I mean, obviously, obviously they ran into, they ran into each other. But even if they wouldn't have ran into each other, it still pisses a guy like him off, because here he is in the middle of a championship race, and you got some wild, long-haired asshole trying to ruin it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, I see it from both sides. Like, yeah, it sucks for Dungey that he's like, if he would have lost to Barsha, he would have lost points, but it's like, it's another guy on the track. You have to race him. Like, you can't expect it to be like, oh, that's Dungey, I'm going to pull over for him. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, and the same goes with Baggett in a way. Now, I understand, you know, there's some moves that shouldn't be made out there that could definitely endanger some people, but man, you can't knock these kids for trying to win. You know, I know that there's a respect level that goes on out there that you need to show, just from racing myself back in the day, that you need to show. But, you know, you can't knock a guy for trying to come in and win, you know. Definitely can't do that. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, think about the top 5 dudes in the 250 class right now. If they all jumped on 450s right now, what that would do to that class. It'd be an
awesome class.
Yeah, and it's coming, dude. It's coming. 2 or 3 years, it's gonna be there. So
I was really disappointed at the Washougal race to see Kennard crash and re-injure himself.
That was such a bummer.
Yeah,
dude, that's so heartbreaking for that kid, because he's such a good guy. He's such a good kid, and then he's had terrible luck like that, where he'll just be doing awesome, and then all of a sudden something will happen to where it's not just a broken collarbone. It's always something that really jacks him up, that he's out for the rest of the season, that he has to battle back through and get all that confidence back. It's just, it always seems like that, for him. And
that was his third time breaking his femur too.
The same one, I believe.
Yeah.
It starts to make you think, man, is that femur going to be able to hold up much longer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You can only break bones so many times.
It definitely has to mess with your head. I know that Reed was saying that ever since his crash at Millville, he's been a little gun shy and just not to his full potential, because that was such a gnarly get off, and he has a wife and kid that he has to be thinking about that and how that's going to affect him. So it's rough out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these guys are a totally different level than I ever was, obviously, but I couldn't imagine racing and having a wife and kid and having to put it out there on the line like a lot of these guys do day in and day out, because that ultimately that's the bigger picture, because motocross will go away. It'll always go away, and you're left with your family. And it's for guys like Reed that's still out there putting in work and doing awesome at it. I mean, he's kicking ass as an older dude, and my hat's off to him for definitely doing that and risking his life, every single time he throws a leg over a dirt bike. That's just the way it goes,
Yep.
So
we've pushed over 30 minutes. Do you want to do one last little plug, since you were talking about the actual VurbMoto site? Mention that real quick, and then we'll call it.
Oh man, we've already done 30 minutes.
Yeah, 33.
No, we just we're in the point in time right now where we're making a bunch of strategic changes to the website at vurbmoto.com, and we just made our video player really big. So you can now watch videos super big. I think this is the biggest video player out of any motocross website out there right now. I think RacerX had the biggest player going for a little while, but ours definitely is a lot bigger right now. So
size matters. So
oh yeah, no, yeah, but we're going into 2012, and we have some really cool things coming up ahead with Vurb. Besides site changes, we got our Vurb Classic race, which you can go to vurbmoto.com/VurbClassic and check out all the info there. For a lot of you guys that play video games and ride dirt bikes in real life, we're going to be having 2 races held in October that you can come. Anybody's invited to come, and it's a really cool event. We got lots of sponsors behind it this year, and it's a good time. So for all that info, just vurbmoto.com/VurbClassic and check it out. See if you can make it. We got a round in Colorado, and then a round in Alabama this year. So we're stoked about that.
And one last thing I wanted to mention about, you mentioned the video player. It's available on mobile now too, as well, right?
Yeah, dude. You're keeping me in check, dude. Yeah, it is. We've had a lot of complaints over the last however many years wanting us to get some mobile video. Well, now you have it. We finally made the switch to a right player. We're able to afford it. That's the big part of it. There's a lot of people that don't realize how much it costs to run a website of our stature, especially with the amount of views we get on a daily basis. The bill is insane. So we're finally able to do it, and yeah, mobile video.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
sick things going on both with Vurb and the Gamers channel. So
right.
On that note, I think I'll close it up. If you guys didn't know this, that was Clint. He actually works with VurbMoto. He's the art director. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, just that you do it, in case anyone's confused.
No, nobody will get it. Nobody will get what I do. I do it all, man. I think I consider myself the MVP. I can shoot photos, shoot video, content manager, web designer, what you name it. I do it. So
all right, cool, man. I just want to throw that in there in case people were a little confused with that. But of course, as always, Clint, thanks for coming on the show. It was great to have you. I'm sure the viewers enjoyed having your voice on here. And Germ, as always, thanks for being in the Skype call and listening, I guess. I don't really know.
That's my job.
You didn't say much, but hopefully next week. We plan to do this again next week. Same place, same time. Yeah, that's about it. So, thanks for stopping by, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it from all of us here. And take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice.